Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the We're Not Stumped podcast. I'm your host, Mike Boland, and today is Thursday, which I typically do news and notes or some rant on some of the topics that I find very important. But today, I'm going to have a guest on. Usually that's only Tuesdays, but today I have a guest that's been on the podcast a couple times before, the first time being season 3, episode 2, and that's Jeanette Jones. And the reason why I'm going to have her on is because she called me up. That's the thing about being on the We're Not Stumped podcast. We all kind of stay in touch, and that's something I really appreciate. But you reached out to me, Jeanette, a couple days ago, and talked about a real issue when it comes to accessibility. And you were at a concert, a Def Leppard concert, and just so happens you and I both have limb loss. So does the drummer, Rick Elliott, I believe his name. Is that correct? Did I say his name correct?
Rick Allen.
Alan, I always say that incorrectly. You think, I'm missing a hand, he's missing an arm. You think I'd know. We're both upper limb, but I always forget. But this was July 20th, a Sunday, July 20th. And this is where the original Woodstock happened, 1969. It was Bethel Woods Center for the Arts is where you're at. And we're going to talk about some of the issues you had there. But just as a reminder, if people don't want to go back to season 3, episode two to learn more about you, briefly talk about, like, you had childhood cancer. I believe you were 12 or something like that, lost one of your legs. So there's a real, you've gone through a lot in your life. You mind explaining a little bit about that?
I had stage 3 osteosarcoma. It's well, it's all along, but with children, it typically it's a very common childhood cancer that goes to the long bones, the femurs, forearms,
Yeah.
and it was my upper femur. And trying to save my leg didn't work. Then I lost my leg 4 years later, and that was it. When I lost my leg, I got up and I did whatever I wanted. I used a prosthetic for 6 years, and then I just stopped using it and used some call them Canadian crutches. Some people call them forearm crutches.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about that in the 2 episodes you've been on about how you got along real well with the crutches, but unfortunately some other medical conditions within the last, I don't know, year have made you so you really can't use those crutches any longer. So you use a wheelchair more now than anything else. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm allowed up for very basic walking on my crutches if I had to.
Yeah.
I use a rigid quickie, which is like more of a sporting type of a chair,
Okay.
and I go out. I used to walk a lot, like up to 5 to 5.5 miles on my crutches a day.
Wow.
Now I'm getting better in my chair where I'm probably up to 1.5 miles to almost 2 miles a day.
Wow.
And
And
it's really nice. It's fluorescent green and it's got big bike tires on it.
that's totally cool. And what was the name of the procedure they did on you? Is it hip articulation? Is that correct?
Yep. Yes, my hip disarticulation
Testiculation.
amputate, and it's a rare one, but what makes me rarer is most of the time, most people have to lose a part of their hip socket or part of the pelvis, even part of their butt. And my doctor saved it all.
Okay.
I have a left hip socket, no hip in it.
Got it. And then on top of just yourself, you were there with I don't know how to say, your companion, your friend, Frank, who was in a terrible accident not that long. Well, I don't know how many years ago it was, but it really left his mobility is also challenged, I think would be a good way to say it. Is that correct?
Yeah, him and I have been together for 10 years, so we just tell everybody we're married. And I just
Okay.
tell people he's my husband, but we're not married.
Okay.
We've just been dating for the last 10 years. Yeah, he was T-boned twice. It was
Wow.
basically a hit and run, and the only witness was a minister behind him. So what happened was his brain dribbled inside of his skull like a basketball.
Yeah.
Where the spine, the neck connects to the skull cracked. A lot of his bones on the right side in the torso were pretty much shattered. He has limited use in his arm. His pelvis kind of broke but sat up, and he was immediately in a coma for months, and they didn't focus on setting the bone. They never set his bones. They just focused on keeping him alive. So when he woke up, his everything was healed. So
Mm-hmm.
now one leg is longer than the other because the pelvis wasn't set. And he looks like he's dragging his leg in a sense. He almost looks like he had a stroke the way he walks. He did never had a stroke. It's just,
Yeah.
the way it happened. And he's very slow at the way he walks. He has to use the cane majority of the time. I, when we're out, I kind of prefer him to use a walker, a roller, which he's very good on it. And first time he ever used one, that was the first time he was able to run since
Wow.
his accident. So, but at the concert, I used the standard fold up chair so he can just push and be able to be steady on the seat.
Got it. And that sets the stage for where you're going through. So basically, at the end of the day, let set the stage for what it is. You're missing a leg. You're in a wheelchair. Frank has his own mobility issues. So you get to, again, Bethel Woods Center for the Arts to watch Def Leppard. And this is not a reflection on Def Leppard, what happened to you, but it was raining quite a bit that day. And you had some major issues getting around and having the staff kind of understand some of the challenges that you face to get around. Can you explain some of that?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So waiting online, getting online, we wanted to be in the beginning of the line so we could get in without an issue. Um,
And I like how you said it to me earlier. You said you're wanting to get in so you don't get trampled because you know you're going to be slower than probably most people.
yeah, and from because my parents started taking me to concerts at 16, and so this is how I end up learning this. They
Hmm.
have to let anybody disabled in a little early ahead of the crowd so they don't get hurt in the crowd.
Yeah.
They didn't want to hear it. Nope. Nope. Go to the ADA that way. They wouldn't even they just point it that way. I'm like, where's that way? Well, from where you line up to get in would have been over a mile walk.
Wow.
And
So
then,
from general
but
admission to where they wanted you to go, and they're just pointing kind of in the air over a
yeah,
mile walk. Wow.
yeah. And then I had a funky idea. Oh, they have a green room. And I asked somebody, oh, it's a $15 ticket to get in the green room. I looked at Frank and said, stay here. I'll be right back. Turns out it was $10 more than what I had. I said, Frank, I need a $10 bill. Why? Just give me $10. Just here's a 20. I said, all right. All right. We're getting in early. We're going in the green room. Thinking
Oh,
this is going to be better.
yeah, I was going to ask, what was the thought behind the green room? You could have gotten in early by getting into the green room?
Yeah. Thinking,
Okay.
well, there's somebody get in a little early. They'll let us get down close enough before the crowd. Or
Okay.
at least a golf cart. Nope. We,
Again, and this would have been money out of your pocket just to make sure that I mean, you're trying to think ahead to be safe and make sure
yeah.
you can get to where you need to go. Absolutely. Okay.
So he almost fainted. It was so hot. He said, I gotta stop. Oh my God. And I go, look over the handles. And I spun around and caught him. He was just about to hit the ground. And I said,
Wow.
"There's some faint. I'm dizzy. I gotta sit." I said, all right, just sit. And I hold him. I was like, this, I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. He goes, are you all right? Because you just went white. I said, well, I didn't want to tell you I'm getting dizzy too. He goes, all right, we're going to have to sit for a little while. And then, all right, half an hour later, we're all right. We're going to start walking. No, you can't go nowhere. We can't let you in. I'm like, what do you mean you can't let us in? We're in the green room. We want to go see the other tents on the way down. And besides, it's a state and federal law. You let us in a little early. We don't care about that. We can't let you do it. Right, here comes the guy, and the security guard thinking, well, they're gonna probably, yeah, I know what he's thinking. We're gonna use being handicapped to get in, sneak in somehow. And he's just sitting there talking to us, and I'm like, why won't you let us in early? We're disabled. It's a state federal law. No, you have to go to the ADI for help. where's the golf carts? Where do we go?
Yeah.
Down where you park. I'm like, do you know how far away that is? And you want this man to walk pushing me? Yep. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Did you do that?
Nope.
Good.
Nope.
What
Was
happened next?
we just sat there until I think 5 o'clock. We were allowed to start walking in. Okay,
So
fine.
you walked in with everyone else, basically?
Well, since we kind of beat the crowd, got a
Okay.
little head on, fine, we're all right until everybody. It was all right. I said, Frank, now it's getting jam packed. We're just gonna have to go. We have to go with this one. Just you're gonna have to learn to get aggressive with this. He goes, all right, we're gonna be fine. We got down there in one piece. I seen other people with walkers, crutches. They were going through the same thing.
Wow.
Even the ones that had lawn seats had to go into the handicap seating for the lawn. Nope, stop right there. We want to know your disability. What exactly is wrong? I'm like, oh my God, they're really asking this? They're not allowed to.
Yeah.
I think that's falls under the privacy HIPAA law.
Yes. So, some kind of privacy law. I agree with you. I don't think they're supposed to be able to ask that.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
And it was insane to watch and go through. But
One of the things you were talking about too, at one point while you were there, and this might have been when you were leaving. I don't want to cut to the chase, but I couldn't believe someone asked you this. So you're sitting in your wheelchair, and this person comes up to you that works for the facility and says, "Hey, can you get up and can you walk out of your wheelchair?" I don't even understand why somebody would ask you that question, but they did.
yeah, the woman goes, she goes, can you try to get up out of your chair? Like maybe sit over here. I go, can you throw my leg back? He goes, I'm being serious. I go, so am I. Can you grow my leg back? Can you snap your fingers, reverse time, and stop me from getting cancer when I was low?
Yes.
I say, do you see me with a set of crutches? Do you see me holding a prosthetic leg? She goes, no, I don't. I go, well, here's the reality part. I go, the answer is no. No, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
And it's illegal for you to ask me to get out of my chair. There are state troopers on the property, and they're up in front of the building. Now, because the struts just got off the stage and it's in between, and there's silly people here, I don't think pulling the police department or even dialing 911, they're going to be able to hear me.
Wow.
So if you don't want me to text somebody that's a state trooper, and which I could do, I could get them down there or have you arrested. You might want to just leave me alone. And she walked away.
That's crazy though. Someone would actually ask anyone in a wheelchair, "Hey, do you mind getting up?" And well, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of why I'm in a wheelchair. Yes, if I could get up, I probably wouldn't be right here. That is crazy. So I know that I believe you did make a formal complaint because you were saying that you may have heard something not that long ago, today, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, after 3 weeks, 5 phone calls, they booked, and I talked to somebody. Her name was, oh, I'll pass this along down the line. Sorry, it'd be another 3 weeks before I hear anything. Okay. And I get somebody, oh, no, 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 no. But this, and this, but no, she taught that on both sides of the river. But we have something like on top of the hill. But at the bottom of the hill, where the pavilion is, the concert venue, we have a car. I go, no kidding. I said, wait there. It was right there. And we walked up to the people that, the employees escorting everybody up. I said, can we get into the golf cart to go up the hill? To get to the other golf carts? No. Up the hill and over the bridge. And made him push me uphill
Jesus.
2 miles in this heat. And
You know,
they
I
just,
want to I want to really understand this too. And you kind of explained it that you've been going to concerts since you were 16. And I know I mean, you have your Def Leppard shirt on now. You're a big Def Leppard fan, but you also go to a lot of concerts. This isn't your first rodeo by any stretch of the imagination, but this was the first time you really encountered this type of attitude towards you and Frank, your not quite so married husband, as you say. This first time you've really ever experienced this. Is this correct?
Yeah, this extent, yes. This was the most severe thing I've ever been through. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
I I can't believe the questions you were asked. I can't believe someone would tell someone in the situation that I know you and Frank are in, hey, oh yeah, that's a mile that way. We can't get you a golf cart to help you out. It's unheard of. I mean, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. Thank you for coming on and explaining this today. And
you're welcome.
and what I'll say too, this is something that probably happens. Well, it happens more than I realize. Maybe it happens more than you realize. So thank you for coming on and sharing this. And if anyone else listening to this podcast has similar stories, come on, come on. And that sounds terrible. Come on the podcast and tell your story, because I think the best thing we can do is hold people accountable by telling the stories and letting people know that this still does happen. So thank you so much for being on. And again, if anyone wants to come on and do the same, I'd like them to do it. Thank you.
You're welcome.